So it's a lovely evening. I've got some low lights, beautiful, but I've got to move quite quickly. I've come to this site here, and there is this amazing fallen tree, and I just like the sort of crisscross design of it. Fallen tree, upright trees in the background, and I don't know whether it's too bright on the background. If I come in the morning, it'd be obviously a lot more backlit, but it's a lovely evening. I wanted to get out. It's the first time since I did some bluebells with the 5x4, which was kind of semi all right. Slightly disappointed with the shots. One of them got totally mucked up, the colour shot, because I double exposed it. Anyway, expensive mistake, but I thought I'd get back out again and just get a shot. So yeah, gonna get on with it. So I'm trying to work out what the point of focus is. There's obviously so many branches, and there's quite a lot of planes of focus. So I've got to sort of pick what I think should be in focus. I'm going to stop down to quite a small aperture, so I think I'll go fairly central. There's a slightly lit up branch in the middle, so I'll go for that one. So I'm going to shoot this with Fomopan 100, which is a black and white film. I haven't got the luxury of having a spot meter, but I've metered it just using my handheld meter at 4 seconds at f32. So with the reciprocity failure of Fomopan, I've looked it up and it says it's 21 seconds, so I'm going to do a 21 second exposure. So f32. Okay, 21 seconds. Dark slide back in. So that's me done today. I'm just going to do the one shot. So hopefully it comes out. I think I'm going to try and show the processing with this one. Just show how I process the black and white and get it scanned in, and obviously put the image up at the end. Come on, Barney. So now onto the processing. I've got to get the film out of the film holder in the dark into my processing tank. I'm using a Stearman Press SP-445, something I found on Kickstarter a couple of years ago, and that can take 4 sheets of film. Well, obviously I've only got 1 sheet today. Opening up the developer, I'm using Ilfotec DDX, concentration of sort of 1 to 9, so make up 500ml, 50ml of developer. At 20 degrees, it's going to take 12 minutes to develop. So pour in the into the fill section, put the caps on, and a mixture of sort of agitating the tank and letting it stand. So skip forward past the stop bath and the fixer and onto the rinsing stage, which I'll do for about 10 minutes or so. And then the film is dried. I like to leave it to dry naturally in a cupboard away from dust. And here's the neg. So it's got a fairly good tonal range there. I'm pretty pleased with how the processing went there. Just having a quick look at the neg on the light box, and onto the scanning method. I'm going to use a wet scanning method today, getting rid of lots of dust with my rocket blower. There's lots of that goes on. I'm using this cami fluid. It's a scanning fluid, and the neg will get sandwiched in between glass and a sheet of mylar. So scanning fluid goes on top and bottom, and this mylar goes on top, and then you kind of squeegee out any imperfections, any bubbles in there, and then it gets taken over to the scanner, more rocket blowing, and then onto the actual scan itself. I'm going to use Epson scan software today. There are a couple I use, but I'm using Epson's own one today. Brings up a preview image, and then I'll get rid of anything like unsharp mask and all those all that stuff down the side. So do a basic crop. I don't mind leaving in a little bit of the black edges. I will recrop this again once we've got the final high-res image. Now with the exposure, it kind of defaults to an auto exposure, but I'm not going to use that. It looks okay on screen now, but we've lost a lot of detail. So basically I'll pull out these sliders so we've got the full tonal range from blacks to whites, and then I'll adjust the sliders just so that they just are going to the end of the clipping. Now it gives you a very muddy looking image, but I want to scan it very, very flat. It's like having a raw file, so you've got lots of information in there, and you're not losing any information at the in the blacks or the whites, because you'll never get that back. So you scan it very, very flat. So give it a name, save it wherever you're going to save it. And this is the image up in Photoshop. So I'll do another crop. So just bring that in, and you can see it looks fairly flat. So the next thing I'll do is, well, I'll do a little clone layer first. So basically I'll copy the base layer and make a clone layer, and this is where I'll do it very quickly now, but I'll enlarge the image. I'll have a look around and look for dust and pick out the right tool, not that one. I'll pick out something like a spot healing brush, make it really small, and normally I'll go quite sort of slow on this, but I'm looking around the image looking for dust spots. There's not a lot on here. It's amazing how that scanning method does clear a lot of that up. So yeah, we'll just do another adjustment level. This way I will then start to get a much better tonal range going through, and do another level adjustment to the curves, giving that sort of classic sort of S curve, and finally just saving it as a TIFF, and the rest of it I'll do in Lightroom. So this is it up in Lightroom, So can't help but dabble again, just tweaking little bits here and there. You could go on forever like this, is just kind of to taste. But it's looking fairly good now. Adding a little bit more to the tone curve, just putting a little a little bit more of an S in there. So just do a couple of last sort of gradient filter adjustments, just take down the brightness in the background a little bit, and just a little bit on this bottom right hand corner. So just adding in a little bit of contrast. So just enlarging it a little bit here, just having a look at some detail at 1:1. Yeah, pretty happy with that for a flatbed scan. Looks fairly clean. Some good tone going on. Yeah, nice bit of film grain going on there. So just adding a little bit of sharpening until I know exactly what's happening, whether it's going on social media or whether it's going to be printed, and at what size. I won't usually do a lot to the sharpening until I know what the output is, but just to crisp things up a little bit initially and just give it a bit here. So just for my needs here, well, I just need to output it for so I can show it on this vlog. I've got a preset made up which I can just add, so I can add it into the to the end of this film. And here's the finished image. So thanks very much for watching. You made it through to the end, so that's all good. I just wanted to make a quick video on large format 5x4, how I go about from capture through to processing the film, scanning the film, and what I do afterwards in Lightroom and Photoshop. It was, it was a bit of a whistle-stop tour. Some of it I skimmed over a bit, but normally I'll do a bit more kind of cleaning up of the image at the end, getting rid of dust and a few more sort of local adjustments in Lightroom and Photoshop. But if you got anything out of it, please give us a thumbs up and leave a comment below. I'll always get back to you if you comment. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I'd love to see you again. I'm going to carry on shooting film and digital. I'll do both. So there'll be a mix coming, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye bye.